all, welcome back to AK Apt Logics. In the previous class, we have discussed about the C variable names. Those are identifier names. We have discussed about the rules and regulations. Also, how to declare a variable name. What characters need to be included in the variable names, and by which character we need to start the variable names. Like this, we have discussed some rules related to the variable names. Okay. So today in this class we are going to discuss about a basic introduction related to the data types. Okay, C data types. So let us discuss what are data types actually. Okay, as explained in the variables chapters, a variables in C must be specified data type. Okay, whenever you are going to declare a variable, you must specify the data type of that particular variable. Data type is nothing but it is like whether it may be the number or float, that is decimal point, or character or string. Okay, like this we are going to have some different types of data types. When you are going to declare the variable, you need to declare the that particular way data type for that particular variable, for which data type it is going to belong. You need to intimate it as well. Okay, while you are going to declare the variable, right? And you must use the format specifier inside the printf function to display it. Okay, when you are going to create a variable, right, you are going to give the data type for which the variable is belonging to, and also when you are going to display the output or the value of the particular variable to the console, you need to use the format specifier for that particular data type in printf statement. Okay, though this thing also you know, right? While I'm going to discuss about the print output numbers or print output variables in our previous classes, right? Next example, we are going to create some variables. Okay, int my num equal to 5. Okay, my num is a variable which is of type integer. It means my num is able to store only whole numbers. Okay, it is can't able to store decimal points or characters. So we have assigned a file with 5, which is a number, which is a whole number, to the my num. Okay, so which is of type integer. Okay, next float my float num is equal to 5.99. Okay, my float num is a variable which is of type float, and we have assigned 5.99, which is a floating point number, to it. Okay, next char my letter is equal to quotation, single quotation inside it. We have specified the d. My letter is a variable of type character, and we have assigned the character d to the variable. And you need to remember a point, that is when you are going to you initialize the value of character to the character variable. Okay, you need to specify that particular character, single character, inside the single quotation marks. Okay, next we are going to print the values. What we have done, we have just created the variables and we have assigned the value to them. Assigning or initialization, both are same. Okay, next we are going to print the value variables or values. Okay, print %d slash n comma my num. Okay, why we have used %d? Why? Because it is the format specifier for the integer, right? To print the integer, you need to use the %d format specifier. So that we have used the %d format specifier. Okay, printf %f. Similarly, to print the floating point variable, you need to use the %f. Okay, so next, to print the character data type, you need to use the %c format specifier. Okay, so we are going to discuss some of the basic data types in C. Okay, I'm not going to show you the output because since you already know, right? I have discussed the above example to you with you, right? So we are going to discuss about some basic data types, what we are going to have in C programming. So next, the data type specifies the size and type of information the variable will store. Okay, data type not only used to tell the compiler or the programmer about the type of the variable that it is going to store, or it is also able to tell the size of the variable, how many bytes or bits it is going to take to store the value which is going to assign to that particular variable. Okay, it is going to also tell you about the size and as well as the type of data that we are going to store. Okay, next, In this tutorial we will mostly focus on the basic ones, and this is the just introduction to the data types. Okay, data type, size, and then description, and then example. The first data type, the basic data type, that is integer. It is the keyword int. Int is the keyword. Okay, it is going to take 2 or 4 bytes of memory. 2 or 4 bytes of memory is nothing but 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. 2 or 4 bytes of memory is nothing but 16 to 32 bits. What does this particular size actually mean? Means, for example, int my num is equal to 5, right? The value is 5 and it is of type integer, right? Now this particular 5 requires 2 to 4 bytes of memory to store it in this particular variable. Okay, this particular variable takes 2 to 4 bytes of memory to store the value which is going to be assigned to it, or which is already assigned to it. Okay, this particular variable my num is of type integer, and it is going to take 2 to 4 bytes of memory to store the value which is going to be assigned to it, or which is already assigned to it. Okay, that's the meaning of this particular size. Okay, description, stores whole numbers and without decimal points. That's the description of the integer. Example, for example, 1. Okay, next, float. Float is also another data type. It requires 4 bytes of memory. 4 bytes of memory in the sense, whenever you are going to assign a value, for example 5.99 to a variable like my float name which is of type float, then you need to only store the floating point number to it, and also this particular variable requires, or it will take 4 bytes of memory to store the value which is assigned to it. Okay, that's the meaning of this particular size. Okay, by the data type we are going to know two things. That's the point you need to remember. That is, one is the size and another is the type of data that we need to assign to the variable. Okay, and description of float is stores fractional numbers and containing one or more decimal numbers. Okay, it is going to store fractional numbers or containing one or more decimal numbers. Next, decimals sufficient for storing 6 to 7 decimal points. Okay, it is nothing but after the point. Okay, it is going to store 6 to 7 digits. Okay, after the point it is going to give you the accurate result. Okay, accurate result up to 6 to 7 digits after the point. Okay, further then it is going to give you the output, but it is not going to give you the accurate output. Okay, when you are going to use the float, it is going to give you this is called precision. Okay, 6 to 7 decimal digits is nothing but the precision. Okay, after point it is can able to show the 6 to 7 digits of after point it is can able to show the 6 to 7 digits accurately. Okay, which is called as precision of this particular floating point number. Okay, next, double. Double is also a data type. Okay, which is also used to store the decimal pointing numbers only, but it will take more memory than compared to floating point number, and it is also having more precision as well. It is going to have 14 to 15 point precision. It means it is nothing but after decimal point it is going to give you the accurate value till 14 to 15 digits. Okay, and 8 bytes is nothing but, for example, when you are going to declare double x equal to 1.0000 and so on till 15 digits. Okay, the value is the double value, double type, and to store that particular value the variable requires 8 bytes of memory, or 8 into 8 16 bits of memory. That's the point. Next, sufficient for storing 15 decimal points. Okay, it means if you want more precision, more accurate, then use the double. If you don't want that much of accurate, and if your requirement is to use the less memory to code, then you use float. Okay, it's quite depends upon you. It's completely depends upon you. Whether to use float or double, it is completely depends upon you. the example for the double as well, we are going to give the 1.99. Okay, yeah. Next, char. Char is used to store the characters, single characters. Okay, not words. It is going to store single characters, whether it may be the single A or B or C or D, and it can also use it to store the numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And also it is going to store it is also can able to store these special characters like slash, question mark, and then quotations. Also it is going to show any, okay, but it is going to store only single character. And the char variable requires 1 byte of memory to store the value which is going to be assigned to it or which is already assigned to it. For example, here we are going to have the example, that is char my letter is equal to D. My letter is the variable which is used to store the data type, which is used to store the value of char, or which is used to store the single character, so that it is going to take, or it requires 1 byte or 8 bits of memory to store the value which is assigned to it, that is D in this case. Okay, so next, basic format specifiers. Okay, till now what we have discussed about is, we have discussed about the different types of data types, and also we have discussed about the what are the sizes required by them, and also how does this actually works. We have discussed about this, right? We are going to discuss further again in upcoming videos. For each and every data type we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, don't worry, this is the basic introduction of the data type. Okay, so when you are going to use the basic format specifiers, we are going to use the basic format specifiers when you need that particular variable of type, variable of different type needed to be printed onto the console using with the help of printf. Then there comes the concept called basic format specifiers. Each and every variable of different data type has different format specifiers needed to be used in the printf statement to print them into the console window. Okay, so for example, there are different format specifiers for each data type. So I have told you, right? For integer it will be %d, for character it will be %c, for float it will be %f, for double it will be %lf. Like this, we are going to have different data types. For those different data types, we are going to have different format specifiers to print the variables to the console with the help of the printf. Okay, let us see some of them. Okay, so format specifier and then data type. %d or %i either can be used to print or display the variable of type integer. Okay, with the help of the printf. Okay, and %f or %F, okay, both are can be used to print out the variable data of floating point number. And %lf is used to display the variable of type double with the help of the printf, right? So %lc is used to display the character data type, character data type value or the variable to the console with the help of the printf statement, right? So %s is used for the strings. Okay, note it is important that you use the correct format specifiers for the specified data type. You need to use the correct format specifiers. If you are going to use the integer data type, then you must use either %d or %f. Okay, you shouldn't use any other format specifiers like %lf, %lf, and %lc. Okay, when you are going to use the float, you need to use %lf small f or capital F. And when you are going to use the double, then you need to use %lf. Okay, if you are going to use %f for the double data type, then what happens is it is going to show you either an error, or else it is going to show you the value accurate till 7 decimal points only. Why? Because float precision is 6 to 7 decimal digits after the decimal point, right? So these things I am going to discuss in further classes, don't worry, okay? But you make sure that you always needed to be use the same format specifier for the data which you would like to display over to the console. Okay, so if not, the program may produce errors or even crash. Okay, so it is going to give you some errors, or it is going to even crash. Okay, this is all about the basic introduction about the data types. So let me summarize this video for you. So instead of remembering all these points, the only points that you should remember mostly are: what does the data type specify to us? Data type data type tells about size and type of variable. Okay, it is going to tell the size and type of variable. Okay, and we need to use different data types, different format specifiers for different data types to print them, to output them to the console window. Okay, this is the 2 points that you need to remember. That's it. Okay, all these sizes of the integer and float and double, we are going to discuss further in detail about each and every data type. Okay, you don't worry about that. Okay, I hope you have understood this lecture. I think I haven't told you the example how to. I haven't show you example, right? By executing this code, I recommend you guys to you put the standard io.h header file in front of this and put all the code in between int main function and run yourself and observe the output. And also I recommend you guys to change the format specifiers. Okay, instead of using the correct format specifier, you use wrong format specifier and check whether what value you are going to get. Okay, then you might get some of the observations to you, so you just keep them those in your mind. Anyhow, I am going to discuss them in the upcoming lectures as well. Okay, okay, that's it for the video. Thank you guys, have a nice day.